Thank you so much. I just want to give a shout out and thank you with the bottom of my heart to all of the poets so far and upcoming that have shared their vulnerability and their heart towards embracing their ancestors. So thank you so much for sharing. Um, so I'm going to start with this poem called My. My is home for me. A tonal memory strengthened by the weight of my kind, like lightly pressing lips to a sigh, butterfly moments with wings fluttering at the speed of reminiscence. Quickly, I grasped to pen the effect, painted in the air with the gathered strands of my hair, only to be brought back home by the sound of it, my fingers printed with the culture of it, in shades of yellow apricot blossoms to welcome moon's new orbit, wavering past disharmonized tones, able to find root in my heart, my mind struggling. Because the early construction of an Americanized instruction marks the early trace of my assimilation. Influences me to paint a different picture, signed in my hand of my middle name because it's more phonetically pleasing. I guess asking for a simple pronunciation was just too easy, not even considering how my name could carry such poetic meaning. So from the age of 4, I've learned to tell people, just call me Gina. Don't even bother reading, because I know how it makes you feel uneasy, even though catering to their discomfort led me to an early life of teasing. Gina, so similar to vagina, even at a young age, reinforced the shame to my right of woman, believing that forsaking my name and sex was needed to bring me acceptance and belonging. My first and last, it sounds so ugly. Don't you dare repeat it. I'm hiding behind the strands I used to embrace to paint so freely because they're tied up in invisible Catholic bows, tied with the strength of guilt, the strength of shame that I don't realize just how far I've wandered away from home, wandering only to find myself at my bravest moment, which was every moment that I had to raise my hand, taking ownership of my name as they speak it in silence. Because if I don't claim it, then they erase me from making history. So I become another face from the tribe that look just like me, that become unseen, that become unheard. Because if they can't read it, then they won't speak it. And if they don't speak it, then they don't see it. If they don't see it, then we don't exist. So it gathered strands, waited in my fear of being omitted. I took it upon myself to write my name in the dictionary with my picture in it. Thank you. Um, so this next piece I'm going to read is a short one. It's called When My Timbre Speaks. I hesitate, but the inclination is to fall blindly into polyrhythmic thoughts too familiar, a timbre of my voice tuned inside of my mother's carved wood, earth, that of the most stubborn of roots by nature can still bend when nurtured with time, keeping count without rest and signature to giving reason to cry and that it's okay to cry and giving reason to believe and that it's okay to believe, believing that it is safe to say, I love you. But in between those muffled slaps, open, my bass bellows to rhythm from tended hands, only soon to callous to hit tones closed. Afraid that even if I did love you, you would have only loved the way I work. And this poem is called Miss Saigon. I was at the age of 11 that I've come to terms of never being seen as Miss Saigon in my mother's eyes. It was never a personal goal of mine, but how I can see her eyes shine when she hears them speak of her mother tongue, and her eyes reveal a hidden pride that longs to be expressed. Instead, she is left to listen to a tongue that of a fourth grader, fifth of your kind. I'm sure even those in the fourth grade speak better than my 26-year-old. I wrote this when I was 26. And I'm okay with that. Her body reacts when I speak. My accents hurt her and she snaps. But you still understand me, don't you? You hear the context? She responds in English. I respond back in Vietnamese. The conversation ends. Push and pull, the weaving of our heritage tethered at the seams. So I design new patterns with the ones that I know, using the thread of my experiences in hope that she will still pull it over her and find comfort in my warmth. She turns away. I'm okay with that. It was at the age of 25 that I've come to terms that I will never be Taylor Swift to my mother's eyes. Again, it was never a personal goal of mine, but I do see how her eyes shine from the reflection of her golden locks, mine, dulled and aged with exhaustion. Thank you. Let's see. This one's another short poem. It's called Keepsake. Some items that I've kept as artifacts of my life in my grandma's keepsake box during my childhood. AKA, if the world were to end and artifacts were to be uncovered of my life, this is the story that it would tell. 1. Grandma's coin purse. 2. My first pair of glasses, also the first time I learned that my eyes were shit. 3. One baby booty, missing pair, I don't care. 4. Photos of Chip. 5. Roto Hydra eye drops because I liked how it burned a lot. 6. Matrix Quartz metronome used right before I quit piano because I was too scared to perform in my recital. 7. A roll of painter's tape with its last unusable strip, the last thing my dad bought me before he passed away. 8. Tic Tac box with one orange Tic Tac from the first grade that I refused to give to my bully even after he threatened to get me in trouble. 9. Random amounts of coins from Thailand that I most likely used on McDonald's. 10. Keep this coupon stubs with names of family members scribbled, some crossed out, on the back as admission to my ship for when the end of the world comes. What's in your keepsake? Thank you. I think I'm going to make this. I saved all my poems on these tabs. So we can find it. I think this is going to be my last poem. And just to give context, this is dedicated to my family. It's called A Letter to My Family. And I had written this while I was grieving because the first matriarch on my mother's side of the family had passed away due to COVID during the earlier part of this year. And so it was being estranged from family members for maybe 10, 20 years. Her passing was definitely a bridge that brought us back together, and in hopes that this poem would help with their healing, and start a conversation about all of the pride, the love that we have for our family, but also letting them know that it's okay to not have the perfect relationships with them either. So, a letter to my family. I was never shy, observant really, whether it was watching the world from the nook of my mother's arms, or playing off in the distance while half listening, or sitting at the edge of the table, silently processing adult conversations. I pour the tea around a table that believes my tongue isn't used to the taste of home, that I'm lost in imagination that flows too wild for my ears to even bother. Maybe. But from it all, this is what I've come to understand. My family bleeds of the matriarch, birthing babies to become the hopes and dreams of those before them, loud and opinionated, flawed yet resilient spirits. Our world where humble housewives, lady black widows, the divorced, the rogue, and the fallen are seen as superheroes in an altered light, who laugh at the mere thought of any man who dare attempt to stifle their spirit as they flow through moments of dysfunction, excitement, lies, and gossip around their own joy luck club, sipping tea, no sugar, pineapple with salt, green mango dipped in sweet and spicy fish sauce. Tales of 9 to 7. Like sister mafia spies or goddesses of gamblers, wielding paring knives to skin the most intricate of fruits, and in an instant, ready to press that blade against the flesh of threat, all while holding their babies in the other. We viewed the world as we rested on their hips. Or like early all-girl rock group, taking turns singing lead on the mic while the rest sing along in chorus, dressing up to make music videos in the park to send back home, behind the scenes dressing boudoir, inside the van where the kids innocently play, and we're outside. They play, singing their vision of an American dream in perfect English without hesitation or pause, and then quickly back to speaking like home, not even caring about the American reality that still sees them as other. Or like the virgin suicides, cunning and beautiful, of their own style and grace, the most beautiful of the village, I hear, each turning away suitors, each refusing a pre-written demise to write out a fate filled with complexities that they could call their own. So they run away from home, leap into the abyss of waters, into the unknown, risking life to create new life or something more because there has to be more, as if they were immortal. 7 to 6. You know, the world was created to test us, to hit us like a quake, rippling out the last beat from the epicenter of our own hearts, moving fervently across the strange yet familiar waters to remind us just how easy it is for our matriarch to fall. From the moment we were born to the moments we leapt down from our mother's hips, whenever our spirit feels stifled, for every time we are seen as other, or when we lose another. 6 to 5 to 2 to. Just remember, we bleed on matriarch. So when you see those fucking tides rising before you, leap. Thank you.